moments will be lost in time. Like tears in.
I'm just a little bit caught in the middle. Life is a maze and love is a riddle. I don't know where to go, can't do it alone. I've tried and I don't know why. Slow it down, make it stop, or else my heart is going to...
You
didn't even have a speech prepared for this?
No, it's not going to be a speechy thing.
You have to, like...
No. Okay,
You're not even doing it on the fly, right?
This is Film Runners 2049. We've replaced Billy with Ryan Gosling. Just kidding, it's Tim. Much worse than Ryan Gosling. Yeah, so we're doing Film Runners again. And we have Tim Harvey as the third person.
Just every time you say it's with contempt.
I didn't, honestly, for a second, I was like, does he want his last name said? Which is stupid, because of course he does. And I mean, there's always an open chair for the coward Billy Seaguar. But Tim Harvey is here to stay until he dies. Which, based on...
Thanks, Mike.
I mean, based on genetics and whatnot. And the stress of... You have a wife and kids and a mortgage and shit, so that's a lot more stressful than our lives. So would probably be first. It would be great if you died 60 years from now, and then and we got Billy back for one episode in honor of you. Just one.
Great, yeah. Thanks for the introduction.
You're welcome.
At least I have insurance though, so everything will be.
Yeah, that's what you think now. 60 years from now, no one has insurance. Are you gonna ensure the sun doesn't fucking explode? Yeah, so that's, I mean, this is what it's always been. Except with a different Billy. It's like when they switched out the Power Rangers, 2-3 seasons in.
That's right, yeah. I'm just the Green Ranger?
No, well, they added a Green Ranger, but then they switched out the Red Ranger with another one who was, native, I think.
Right.
And then they switched out the Asian Ranger with another black lady.
Okay. But what happened to was the Green Ranger turned to the White Ranger?
Yes.
But was that was the same character, right?
Same
the same dude played both?
Yeah. He just switched color Rangers. Wasn't a different.
He powered up.
Yeah, if you're Tim and believe that white is better than green. But I guess Tim believes white's better than everything, don't you?
I do not.
Please, I have a family.
No one listens to this, Tim. Only you.
Don't worry about it. All right, so our first movie that we're doing, Tim, introduce it.
Yeah. So the money.
All right, that's it. Thank you. We'll see you next time.
The movie I decided to pick was the movie I decided to pick because we're in this weird COVID situation and sports are coming back. I decided to pick Moneyball, which is one of a sports movie that I like. It's a 2001 film directed by Bennett Miller.
No, it isn't.
Starring Brad Pitt, Jonah Hill,
you're
Philip
wrong.
Seymour Hoffman, Chris Pratt.
It's not a 2001 film.
2011, didn't I?
You said 2001, but yeah, it is.
Oh,
said 2001.
it takes
Yeah.
It takes place in 2001, where after being repeatedly beaten by better fighting teams, the Oakland Athletics general manager Billy Beane, starred by Brad Pitt, hires a savvy statistician, Jonah Hill, who gives a radical new approach to filling his roster and playing each game. The wins This wins him no friends amongst his players, coaches, and scouts and fans, but he's determined to see his idea through. A divorced dad, he has only his adolescent daughter to turn to for solace. Smart, interesting, drama based on Michael Lee's best-selling book, with a story by Stan Charvin and a screenplay by two heavy hitters, Steven Zalian and Aaron Sorkin. And Leonard Maltin gave it 3 stars. So there you go.
I think that's the first time anyone has read the actual
I know.
actual description of it.
I was actually about to be like, where did you read that from?
It's from Leonard Maltin's movie.
Okay.
Also, and I'll cut this part out, but Tim, you can, like, take a breath. You don't have to go so fast. There were some words I didn't understand when you were saying the description. So
Yeah, I'm not very good at reading.
yeah. So don't, just that's okay. Describe it in your
You
own
can say
words.
it in your own words.
Yeah.
Just summarize it.
Use your own
Yeah.
words.
Anyways, Leonard Maltin gave it 3 stars, which I think is
Who gives
low.
a
I feel like he just
fuck what Leonard
bypassed our
Maltin-
advice.
Yeah. Who gives a fuck what Leonard Maltin gave it?
I don't know. I like Maltin. We do Leonard Maltin all the time.
We play the
think it's-
game. It doesn't mean we appreciate him as a reviewer. Like, I wouldn't if I was like, oh, Leonard Maltin gave this 3 stars. I wouldn't be like excited about it.
No, but I think it's also interesting to see what somebody else gave it.
That somebody being Leonard Maltin.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my point is that the somebody is very important. So you had seen it.
Yeah, I was the one that picked it. I saw it. I'm pretty sure I saw it in theaters, and then I've seen it a couple times since.
Okay, yeah. I had seen it several times as well. And Insha, you were the one who had not seen it.
I haven't. Yeah.
Okay, so
So, Insha, you hadn't seen it before, so I want to hear what you had to think about it first.
what a cool normal question.
I liked it. It's still very, because I'm not a sports person at all, except for like wrestling. So I was just like, I'm confused about half of the things that they're talking about, but still I was intrigued and kind of like, I was into it, especially because like I like Brad Pitt moments, and it had a lot of Brad Pitt moments where I'm just like, yes, Brad Pitt. But yeah, it was interesting. There were some parts that I really, 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 really wanted to be longer, but then that man got fired, so I don't think anybody really
I think
cared.
I know what you mean. The room with the scouts and shit, with all the old
Yeah.
men. I could watch
I
like
would watch
8 hours of those men talking.
I literally was like, I could just watch like a whole series of just like these people just going and drafting people and talking about statistics, because like it was so interesting, and I was just like, oh man, especially that one guy with like the little earpiece in his ear, and he was just like, this man doesn't listen to anyone but himself and God, and I'm just like, you're so cute, old man.
Well, yeah. There
You know,
are
I
two
thought that
things.
was really cool because that part, because even there was the scene before where they were all talking where it kind of sounds like he's on like the other scout's side, sort of thing. So I was like, oh, he's like the rest, and then that made me turn him around.
It's
pretty
nice
quickly.
that the adorable old man with the hearing aid is actually on Brad Pitt's side. But they're not talking about stats. The point is they're talking about like shit that is unquantifiable, which is the problem, right? And 2 things I love that they complain about is one of the old dudes is like complaining about a guy because he has no confidence because he has, quote, an ugly girlfriend.
Ugly girlfriend.
And another guy sticking up for that dude says he's the kind of guy who walks... Oh, hold on. He's the kind of guy who walks into a room and his dick's already been there for 2 minutes. Like, I could literally watch those old dudes talk about shit that, like, doesn't exist and doesn't matter for, like, 8 hours for sure.
I think it's a good insight. Like, I don't know how much of it is dramatized or how much of it is real, but I'm sure it's based on real life about how this obviously happens on draft day and before drafts and before training camps, of them talking about just random stuff of whether or not a guy looks I think one of them said that he has a good look to him, as in like
Absolutely, yeah.
he's a player that he
Yeah.
could sell tickets because they could put him on a poster or
Well,
something like
because
that.
part
right?
of
Like,
it, and it's like implied, but not like a focus of the movie because the movie's fucking long enough, right? But like part of it is implied that like they want a star, and like Giambi and Damon were like stars, you know, and you sell like merch off of people who are stars. So you're looking for a person like who can go on a poster and shit, and like who people like, which is like a thing they're looking for. But when Billy Bean, Brad Pitt, realizes that's not how you fucking win games, that's not what he cares about at all. Even though, like, I'm sure for like decades and decades, these dudes, that's been like a major that's been like a major part of like their focus, you know.
No.
But I will say, going off of what Insha said, I also don't really give a shit about baseball in any way at all. I hate it. I don't hate sports. I like, you know, lots of sports. But baseball sucks and is boring. But I love baseball movies. They usually make it interesting. And in Moneyball's a really good twist on it where they, like, all of the focus is behind the scenes. And we rarely ever see actual gameplay, which is really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that might be because of, like, I was wondering about that, of whether that's mainly because of, you know, the actors that they have playing the players they don't have footage of them because they're the real players on the field. Like, they could play in-game footage, but then then you'd have to realize that this actor is not this player. Like, I think the only part where they're actually playing baseball is they have, like, the silhouette sort of scenes.
Yeah, but I mean, they recreate scenes. Like, I mean, jumping ahead, but when Hattenberg gets his, like, home run
Yeah.
to get them the 20th win, like, they could do that. But they just
Yeah.
don't, because, like, the whole point of the movie is, like, the drama's about creating the team and, like, getting one up on the big guy, you know?
Right. So, Insha, I'm not sure if one of the other big things about this is about and around sports, and I'm not sure if you got this or not, but baseball is one of the rare sports that they don't have a salary cap. So that's a lot of this happened in baseball because of this, where the Yankees can spend as much money as they want because of the salary cap. There's other games like hockey and basketball where you can only pay, every team can only pay up to $70 million per salary on everybody for everybody who's on the team. But baseball is that rare sport where nobody can, so that kind of allows this to happen, where you have these small teams like the Oakland A's and a couple others that, because they don't have the fan base to have the money, they can't get the players. So that's kind of where this innovation comes in with
Isometrics.
trying to figure out a different way to get.
What's it
get
called?
them.
Not isometrics. That's like a weight loss thing. What's it called? Sabermetrics, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sabermetrics.
Isometric.
That's interesting. I think the one thing that also interested me about this was how much they were willing to pay for players and how much players were going for, because like I know in basketball it's just a ground level of just being like, here's $35 million. You have to play for this many years. But like, I never knew, like, in baseball, they were just like, we'll give him to you for like this much money, and then he gets this much money. I'm sorry.
It's really good at showing, like, sort of the day-to-day, like, average of what actual player, because there are hundreds of like basketball and football players and hockey players who make the salary, like the low-end salaries, like they talk about in these movies. But I mean, you rarely ever hear about that because, like, you hear about the most famous players, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing I really liked about it, is that, like, I don't know about the economics of a baseball team, like how, like, I really like the part where when Brad Pitt's talking to David Justice when they get him on his team. Yeah, and he, like, sort of brings him down to earth, being like, no, you need to, like, the Yankees are paying part of your salary for you to play against them. That's how much they don't like you. Like, the economics of that are hilarious. And weirdly interesting. And it's like, if you don't vibe with that, because it's very much a because like I could give a shit about baseball or the economics behind it, but they do a good job of making it actually interesting. So I really vibe with like that, and like when they're making the deals about like, you do this, I eat this much of the contract, and you pay for the soda pop in our fucking clubhouse, and then that's like the deal. Like that, all that shit for some reason is so like cool to me.
Yeah.
Well, I think it also kind of goes, some sort of you can kind of take it into, reality of real economics of, the rich just keep getting richer, and then the poor people just have to pay for their own soda in the clubhouse.
Well, that's
right?
that's a really cool thing about the movie too, is that it's actually like, even though it has a couple of antagonists of actual people, predominantly the antagonist is just the system, quote unquote, like how unfair it is that like the fucking Yankees can just buy their way to victory after victory, right? Like, because you've got the head scout guy who we lose halfway through the movie, and then Philip Seymour Hoffman, God rest his soul, he's like kind of an antagonist, even though you kind of also like him and understand what he's doing. Like, once he gets out of the way, he's fine. And he's also, like, nice a few times prior to that. So he's like, you get it. He just doesn't get what they're doing.
Right.
But,
and at the beginning, too, he was like, I can't really put on a team on a 1-year deal. Like, you
you, like, understand.
You kind of feel bad for him at the very beginning, where you're just like, yeah, you're right. Give this guy a bigger contract.
Especially when he's like, I gotta run this team in a way I can defend in job interviews in the winter. It's like, that totally makes sense. Like, 100%. He just doesn't get what Brad Pitt is doing. So because the antagonists are very like, they're either gone quick or like very relatable, it really is just like a it's sort of like a just a scrappy kid against the system kind of thing, except it's like Major League Baseball.
I had a question about one of the players, because I remembered a tidbit from when I was a kid. David Justice, did he marry like Halle Berry and then get a restraining order from her, or am I making that up?
That kind of sounds familiar, because I remember him being very famous when I was a kid too. Not very famous, but like as a name, like a baseball name. I don't know if he did, but I wouldn't be surprised.
He did marry Halle Berry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know about that other stuff, but
I don't know about all that other stuff. All I know is he married Halle Berry.
But he did marry Halle Berry.
So to sort of just clarify the plot, like you set it up beforehand, but it's really just like a season of baseball where Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill, as his like assistant guy, are trying to steer their organization, which doesn't have much money, in a non-traditional way, so that they can do as well as the big guys, right?
Right. They're trying to steer it in a way with the least amount of money, with the resources they have available, how they can stack up, and the Jonah Hill, who's actually a fake
he's like
character.
A composite, right? Like
yeah. There's multiple people who make up his character in real life. Billy Bean's a real person. Yeah. But Jonah Hill isn't. I don't remember his name. Is it?
I always think, how great would it? Oh, Peter Brand.
Peter Brand.
Jonah Hill's name. How great would it be if you found out you were like, oh, they're making a movie about whatever, and Brad Pitt's playing? How amazing would that be?
Wasn't there something recently where Brad Pitt was playing Dr. Fauci or Fauci? Didn't that happen in SNL the other?
Yeah, he played him on SNL or whatever. It's like, this fucking guy should kill himself tomorrow because there's no way his life's getting any better.
So the reason, the thing that Jonah Hill came up with was on base percentage. That it doesn't matter whether you get a hit or whether you get a walk. The more people you get on base, the more runs you get, because the more wins you get. So they're just trying to get as much as possible, which is brings me to another scene that I really like before of that scouting scene. They're bringing up Kevin Youkilis. I really liked Kevin Youkilis, but he's the Greek god of walks, is what they called him.
Is that the one?
They're watching him on the video.
Okay.
They talk about him before, where they're like their socks are like waiting on him or something.
Yeah,
is that what you're talking about?
That's right. Yeah, yeah. And actually, if you ever watch him in real life, he like crowds the plate, and he actually had to wear an armband with an elbow pad because he got hit in the elbow with a baseball so many times.
That's funny. I really like, my favorite scenes are, one, the first time he brings Jonah Hill into the room with the recruiters, or the whatever you call them.
The general manager. Oh no, with the scouts.
Yeah, with the scouts. Yeah. And like basically reveals their plan to them for the first time. I love that scene.
Yep.
Just because I think Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill are an amazing comedy duo, surprisingly. And I love the draft day, the draft day scene.
Trade deadline.
Yeah, the trade deadline. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, where he's making multiple calls and making. He's trying to undercut other people by trading them pieces of assets that they
people
want.
before he even has them and shit. Yeah, it's so good. Like Jonah Hill does a little fist bump when they like succeed, and like I want to do that every time I watch that part of it because I'm like, fuck, that rules. Like it's so intense. Like just a tiny scene that's so intense, and like the names they're spouting and the people they're calling and shit, it means nothing to me. Like it's just going through my brain, but it's just the excitement of the moment. It's just so good.
Yeah. I like that. There's a little thing that happens in there too, where somebody's like, "Oh, what about I don't remember the name, Johnson," and he's just like, "I love Johnson." He's like, "You don't even know who him is," and then they get to another guy and they do that exact same thing over again. Like,
well, there's one where it's like I can't remember the names exactly, but he's like, it's like, okay, we'll do this for Markson or whatever, and then when he gets on the call later, he's like, well, we're taking that, and then we're gonna take Thompson, and then Jonah Hill's like, we're taking Markson. It's like just a totally different thing.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It's like, that's what I always thought, and I've talked to Tim several times about this, and I don't know why. But there needs to be, and I know there is a movie specifically called Draft Day, but I don't like it, so I don't know.
No, that movie.
But there needs to be a movie, kind of written, and we'll get into this later about Aaron Sorkin, who co-wrote this. But written by Aaron Sorkin or somebody like him, could write a really good movie about like any sports draft day, or even like a trade deadline day. Like it would be so intense and high energy. It would be really good. And I'm pissed that there is a movie called Draft Day and it sucks.
Yeah, I think we'll get into it when we get into the recommendations. But I have an idea in mind that would be good to base it off of. But
is it? Oh,
we'll get to that.
I think I know what it is because
you probably
yeah. It's a 30 for 30.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. I agree. Anyway.
The other thing, there was another scene that I liked, and it wasn't really a scene that took very long, but another piece of that movie that I liked is that throughout the beginning of the movie they showed the Damon and the Giambi banners, and then when Jonah Hill shows up to Oakland A's Stadium for the first time, they're taking them down, and I like that sort of changing of the guard, sort of,
it's a very
out with the old, in with the new.
Yeah, it's a really well shot movie for one that doesn't like spend almost any time. Like it's 2 hours and something long, and I bet we get like 10 minutes of footage like actually on the ball field, like top.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, there's like some really good, like it looks great. Like in particular, I wrote it down because I like love the sequence when sorry. Oh, when they're like going for their 20th game in a row or whatever, like that whole sequence where Brad Pitt thinks he like jinxed it by coming back, and he's like in the weight room, and then Chris Pratt's all nervous when he goes up to take the hit, and then he like cracks it, and like that just Brad Pitt swinging his head around to like watch the footage. Like it's just shot like beautifully, shot and edited like perfectly. It's like you could just show that as the trailer, and I would go see that movie. But yeah, there's like they find a way to make like a lot of shit that is just people in offices talking about numbers make it actually look like good.
I was weirdly interested in like I don't know how to properly put it. it's like those little tiny character things within it. It's just like them spitting in cups. I was like, this is gross, but all of you are doing it.
Yeah, it's true.
But I didn't know what that was at first because I was just like, this is really gross. But then I was just like, oh, everybody's doing chewing tobacco.
Yeah.
But like I like that little. It's like
there are a lot of really good like little character moments that remind me of like just like people I know, which is good for what like that a movie can do that, especially one based on real life. But like I knew guys who played not pro baseball, but like whatever it is, whatever the minor leagues are, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know what they call it in baseball because who gives a fuck.
Like,
but minor baseball.
Yeah, I know, but even not even like minor leagues, like before that, you know.
Oh God,
like beer league baseball.
Whatever it is, not beer league. Oh, step up from that. Anyway, and it like so many of them I knew like were exactly like is it Jason Giambi's the brother, right?
Jeremy Giambi.
Yeah, him. Like they all had, and even Chris Pratt's character, that tiny goatee, like the little, just like the actual literal goatee. Like I saw so much of that shit in like the mid 2000s, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, and there's also, I mean, Brad Pitt, he loves to eat food as a character choice.
Yeah.
Seems very obvious. But I love the fact that, like, that one scene, I think it's the trade deadline scene, where he's eating popcorn out of a coffee filter.
Yeah,
and for some reason, it just sticks in my head. It's such a perfect character choice, because it's like, of course he'd just grab a coffee filter and, like, fill it with popcorn. Like, it just makes so much sense to me, even though it's so silly.
Of course they had popcorn sitting around the baseball field.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
That reminded me, though, I forgot when we were talking about that scene, one of my favorite things that happened in there is when he's talking at the trade deadline with one of the other GMs, and they said, "Yeah, we'll give you this," and then he hangs up immediately.
Yeah.
Because if you get the answer you're looking for, hang up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny how he gets annoyed that Jonah Hill says please when he's telling him to say something.
Oh,
and then Jonah Hill's like, "Oh yeah, I added the please." To the guy. It's funny. It's really, they do a good job of Peter Brand does it, like Jonah Hill's character. He kind of does, I guess, when he learns to fire people, which is fucked up. But like Brad Pitt gets a character arc, but like so do a lot of little characters. Like David Justice has a tiny one. Chris Pratt's character has a character arc. Philip Seymour Hoffman kind of. I mean, I really would have liked, one criticism is I would have liked one scene with him later where he kind of acknowledged that once he used the team the way it was supposed to be used, that it worked, you know?
Yeah.
Because we get a scene where it's like they're giving his character Art, what's his name? Art something?
Art Howe.
Yeah.
But they're giving his character like credit for like finally, not character, he's a real person, but giving him credit for like, oh, he finally brought this crazy stupid team together and he's like the whatever. But I mean, the character himself didn't read that way, where he would like what we had seen of him, I feel like he would have been like, oh yeah, you were right, or whatever, or like, I don't know.
Right, yeah. We went from winning the first win to the 19th win really quickly without, I mean, there was a little scenes in where Billy Beane was actually in the clubhouse finally talking to the players where he wasn't before. But you're right, we don't get that acknowledgement from the coach that it's working. Or
I think that acknowledgement kind of comes from Hattiesburg. Okay,
Chris Pratt.
Hattiesburg.
Chris Pratt.
like Hattiesburg, like kind of him acknowledging that like Hattiesburg is it kind of comes from like him finally realizing like, oh, that's like our secret weapon.
Yeah, when he puts him in on the 20th game, you're right, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe, because I even wrote that a note, how hilarious it is, because the game where Billy Beane comes back and it's like they start losing from an 11-point lead, and then he's like, he thinks he like jinxed it all, but like the the one player, Coke or Koch or whatever, is coming off the field, and like you hear the sound, and then the sound cuts off as a player is tapping his ass, like giving him a pat on the butt. The sound cuts off, and it made me laugh. But then it like focuses on Philip Seymour Hoffman's face, and then he looks over at Hatterberg, and he's like, Hatterberg, you're up, or whatever. So you're right. You're right. 100%. I totally forgot that. But yeah. Okay, so they do have that. So it's a perfect movie, is what I'm saying.
I mean, I know it's based on a true story, and most of it is, I don't know, from what I understand to be somewhat real. I guess.
The broad strokes.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess that is my one kind of criticism, is that for a sports movie, winning 20 games in a row is kind of like I don't know. That wasn't the big reveal, because they won 20 games, but it's not like there wasn't that big hurrah at the end, I guess, right?
So so clarify, do you mean you wish when they won 20 that was sort of the climax, and then the rest was like, they didn't go on to win, but what they did was great? Or do you mean that it should have been, what do you mean?
I think that's what I'm trying to say, is that like
you wanted them to cut it off at 20.
Yeah,
like
basically that was like, that'd be like the end of the movie, and then then kind of wrap it up quicker and be like, and they went on to not win anything else, but everybody else did
Here's the thing, I would totally agree with you if what they did afterwards didn't clarify the reason why they kept doing it. You know what I mean? Like a sports movie that most of the action was ball playing, and we saw very little behind the scenes stuff. Like a totally different movie would have ended exactly where you're saying it would, but because most of the action was behind the scenes, it was numbers and shit like that, it makes more sense him
getting
the climax being the offer from the Red Sox. Exactly. Yeah,
because I think the thing too is that this movie is about Billy. It's not about the
team.
Team.
Yeah.
Like if it was about the team, then it would have. Yeah, like if it was a team, it would have been like, okay, we're cutting this at 20 because like we lose every other game imaginable. But like since it's about Billy, it has to like follow his offer for the Red Sox and being like the first, I guess, general manager to ever have such a high 12-point-something million salary, and then like everything else that goes
have it. Yeah, be offered. Which is like, which is very much like being the, I don't know, first place in the breadline. Who gives a shit?
He was the first guy to be offered to go on the moon.
Yeah, but I also but turn it down. But I also like another part, like connected to that. I do like when his daughter's like, "Dad, are you okay?" or whatever, and he like makes it very clear. He's like, "I have like, my problems aren't normal people problems, so don't worry about me." Because it's like, even though like you get invested in a movie and the stakes are like high as you're watching it, it's like, yeah, this is a general manager of a Major League Baseball team. He's fine. Like if he loses his job, he'll be fine.
Yeah. I love their relationship. It's just like these soft moments in his life that I like really actually adored. Like when she's playing guitar with like, and he's finally like hearing her sing. I'm like, oh, you're like an actual person.
Yeah, that scene made me wish he played like just normal fathers more, because I was like, he's adorable just watching his daughter sing. Like that was the sweetest I've ever seen Brad Pitt.
Yeah,
he was adorable.
And even like at the end when like he's driving and he's like hearing like her mix that she made, like that she made him, I'm like, oh my god, this is actually really cute. Like I kind of wish there was like more moments with her in it, but at the same exact time, I'm like, that's the perfect amount of moments with her in it.
Yeah, I would say there are like, because there are like 3 or 4 really good scenes with him and his daughter, and I think they're really good. I also like, even though they're probably not necessary, but him and his ex-wife and her new husband,
her weirdo husband.
I love him so much. It's Spike Jonze, and he's so
Robin
good.
Wright was his ex-wife, right?
Yeah.
I went through the entire movie being like, who is this random woman?
But Spike Jonze is like the stepfather or whatever, and he's so fucking funny. He's like, he's a director, obviously, right? But like, when he shows up as an actor in shit, he's so like, he's the guy in Wolf of Wall Street, Tim, if you don't remember, the guy who runs the like little, like shop or whatever they call it, where you trade, where he's like,
yeah.
"Oh, if you sell this many stocks, I'll suck your dick," and I mean it. You don't remember that guy too?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, he's in that. He's so good at that, and he's in the movie Three Kings with George Clooney and Ice Cube and Mark Wahlberg and shit. But he's predominantly like a director, and I really think he should just be a character actor because he's so good.
Yeah, he was really good in that.
He's very funny as like he's such a like specific type where he's like he just doesn't want to like make waves, and he's very like conciliatory, but also kind of annoying. Like if you were Brad Pitt, you'd be annoyed by him, even though he's like trying, obviously.
Yeah, he's that guy that you know he knows that Billy Bean is like a big guy, so he wants to like act cool.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying to act like, you know, his friend or whatever, but it's like, you're with my ex-wife, so we can't be friends, but it's, so just chill the fuck out. But now, I have a thing, not a thing.
Oh God.
Chris Pratt, these are the kind of roles he should be playing, right? He's good in this, isn't he?
I liked him in this. Yeah,
He's very good in this.
I like the scene where they go to his house.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know, he's down on himself I don't know. He's pretty much down on himself the entire movie.
He is.
Like,
Well, the scene where they go to his house, I wrote down. Hold on, wait, I gotta find it. Wait, I wrote down. So when Chris Pratt's talking about how he can't play first base, and Brad Pitt's like, it's not that hard. Tell him Wash, and then Wash is like, it's incredibly hard. And then Brad Pitt's like, well, everything worth doing is. So good. But yeah, it's a very good like an everyman kind of like role. It's I don't know. I'm just
no,
excited.
even just the little things though. Like even like after they leave, he like has this great moment with his wife and kid.
Yeah, it's like, he's like good. He's really good and charming, and like very like humble and shit. And whoever casts him as like a swaggering douchebag in Jurassic World should be ashamed of themselves because he sucks at that. He's so bad in Jurassic World, and it makes me not like him in other shit. Even though I have liked him.
Man. He's good at being like a sad man that you feel bad for, and you want him to like accomplish things.
He is like a doofus who kind of hasn't done well, who you want to do well. Exactly.
And that's exactly what he plays in Parks and Recreation.
Exactly. Yes, he's good in that. He's good in this, and that's why he's partially good in Guardians of the Galaxy, because even though he's like the main dude, he's also like a do nothing dirtbag or whatever. Like he's a failure for most of it, right?
Right.
Yes.
He's trying to act super cool, but in the background he's.
Whereas in Jurassic World, he's just cool, quote unquote, the entire time, and he sucks, and he's so like
he's
annoying
in Jurassic World.
Yeah, but he's really good in shit like this.
That's another one of my favorite things in the movie is when he's talking with David Justice, and he's like, "Well, what are you afraid of, man?" And Chris Pratt, "Oh, you know, the ball coming in my general direction." Haha, that's funny. But what are you actually afraid of? No, that's right. That's actually what I'm afraid of.
That part's really funny because it's right after like when Brad Pitt talks to David Justice about like, you know, he's got to be like the mentor on the team and shit.
Yeah, like the locker room leader or whatever.
And then that storyline ends with that scene, and then David Justice just eating cereal, like, oh, well, good luck with that, and that's the end of it. I also really like. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I like that they show, like it's really nice that they show how shitty sort of the trading scenes are. Like Brad Pitt teaches Jonah Hill what he'll have to say to people when he has to trade them and whatnot, and you see a couple of times when that happens, and it's like it's sad for the guys and whatnot, but then they actually show how it's almost more of an execution when somebody gets sent down to the minor leagues and shit, or the whatever the teams are called, I don't know.
Yeah, AAA.
Yeah, AAA. That's right. But it's like, because that, you know, you're not coming back up unless you all of a sudden like become amazing or whatever. But I like the difference between the two. I thought that was really cool how they showed that. Yep.
No, I like
No,
that.
I know. Yeah, me too. I like it. That's why I brought it up. Yeah. It was cool. I felt really bad for that guy. It reminded me of like a war scene or something. Like he was the kid who was like, "No, I'm gonna make it, Captain," as he's like bleeding out. Sorry, no, you say something.
There is this one shot that I really like, and it's the lady in the stands that had a sign that says, "We're still proud of you." Because I laughed for like, I had to like get up from my seat and leave because I laughed for like a good 15 minutes. I was like, "We're still proud of you."
I laughed at. There was a sign that I laughed at where when it was showing like the montage of their winning streak, and an audience member has a sign that says, "We may never lose again." And it's like if you saw that sign in the stand and you were like very like into the team, wouldn't you want to kick that guy's ass? there's no way we're ever gonna lose again.
We're jinxing us.
Right? Like that's literally just that sign is a jinx.
Speaking of signs, I noticed this, and I don't know if it was for everybody, but in the scouting scene that we mentioned earlier, in the back wall there was a one of the players' names that they had on the back wall behind them was C. Pratt, and I was wondering if that was for Chris Pratt, and they had like all the actors' names on there, but he was the only one I noticed.
They do shit like that sometimes.
It probably was.
That's funny. I really like the two scenes that shows like Brad Pitt like getting tired of their old ways, and then the new scene with like Jonah Hill in that one when he just casually is like tossing the names on the board and shit, and when he points at Jonah Hill to like say stuff.
Yep. This movie also breaks one of my cardinal rules. They call it Moneyball.
Oh yeah, the is it the radio announcers or whatever?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have cardinal rules?
Tim hates. Don't.
He's
gonna give an example. He's gonna give the worst example for.
I hate when movies like make it an obvious point to say the title of the movie.
It's not an obvious point. Sometimes the movie's named after the line in the movie.
Like Jurassic World and calling it Jurassic World.
That's not obvious. Like if you
What do you mean
I'm not
it's
mad
not?
at
It's
Jurassic.
kinda obvious.
I'm not
It has
mad
a
at
sign on the
I'm not mad at Jurassic Park. Like
Listen.
they go to the thing is called Jurassic Park. That's fine. When they say Jurassic Park because they go to Jurassic Park, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, why are you fine with it the one way but not the other way? Okay, just say your whole thing and then I'll tell you why you're fucking dumb.
The one I hate, which is the worst one I can ever think of,
This is
is
stupid.
Face Off.
No.
He takes
When
his
Nicolas
face
Cage
off.
says, "I want to take his face off."
Yeah,
I hate it.
because
It's the worst
The movie's
line.
called Face Off because they take the face. It's the exact opposite of Jurassic Park.
No, the movie's called it's like they had to put that line in. It's like, okay, we're gonna call the movie Face Off, so we gotta say Face Off in the movie.
No, that's not true because the whole premise is them taking the face off.
If they didn't have
So
that
they
line in
mentioned
there, I
them
wouldn't be
taking
fine
a
with it.
face
They
off.
don't need. Yeah, but he doesn't need to like abruptly to say that in such an overdramatic point.
It's Nicolas Cage who says everything over dramatic. It's fucking Face Off. It's a masterpiece. What are you talking about?
I just hate it. It's a pet peeve of mine when that happens.
Yeah, it's a pet peeve.
It's not when they just say it and it's casual and it's just if they name it after that, that's fine. But when they make it,
Oh, so if like Nicolas Cage was strolling by just swinging his fucking watch on the chain and was like, "Oh yeah, I'd like to take John Travolta's face off," and then that was it, like that's fine.
yeah,
Yeah, you'd rather do that than actually like act.
if he walked through and
We
and
didn't
said,
walk through,
"Look,"
like literally just
if he walked
by
up
the
and
scene.
said, "Oh my goodness, it's a Wicker Man," I'd hate that too.
Insane. Yeah, it's the worst example.
If he goes into a casino and rolls the dice and he's like, "I just got snake eyes," I would hate that too.
What
Snake
about
Eyes
John...
is a good movie.
Wait, what about John Wick then? Like, this is...
Yeah, his name's
That's his name.
but that
His
doesn't
name's John
count.
Wick. You can say John Wick as much as you want. It's nobody. His name's John Wick.
No,
it's
yeah,
fine.
Tim's upset because his rule is the movies I like that say it don't count, and the movies I don't like that say it do count. That's his rule.
No, you can say the name of the movie. It's just when you make it obvious that the whole entire point of the one line is to say the title of the movie.
That's not the point of the one line in Face Off. The whole premise is that his face is taken off. Why wouldn't they say Face Off at any point?
You can say Face Off, but that line in that movie was obviously only put in
It wasn't
because it's the title of the movie.
No, you're crazy.
I kind of.
No, Insha,
no,
Thank you,
no.
Insha.
an idiot. Don't listen to him.
Because it's kind of just like if you call it like let's say you call it like the maniac in Maniac a maniac, which doesn't make any sense.
What?
It doesn't make, what are you talking about? It makes sense. Makes total. See, Tim has reverted all of us to speaking nonsense. Ridiculous. Because the thing you're upset about makes no sense, Tim. Like, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, I could understand your point. Yeah, it does matter. Because I could understand your point if, like, in the middle of Shaun of the Dead, they were, like, all of a sudden, like, Simon Pegg turns to the camera and is like, oh, it's almost like this is Shaun of the Dead. Then that would be annoying.
Make any sense.
But
Right.
the premise of Face Off is that his fucking face comes off. So why wouldn't he say Face Off?
Actually,
can say-
yeah, that makes sense. Sorry.
No.
Tim.
No, you can say Face Off. I'm not saying he can't say Face Off. He's like, oh yeah.
He did say it, and you are saying he shouldn't have said it.
Anyways, when we get to another one, this one I felt was also put in
Problematic.
there.
This was problem. What would you
I'll
if
tell
you
why
rated
this
it
one was
on
problematic?
if you
Because it was
rated
based on a book that
so
was
if you-
written. It was based on no. Let me finish. It was based on a book.
Let me
that
finish.
was
Can I
written-
finish?
Because it was based on a book that was written years later. That was called Moneyball. They
No,
didn't
years
know it was
before.
going to be called Moneyball back in
Oh,
2001.
so your problem
So
is
they
that-
obviously, Aaron Sorkin wrote this one line and say, we're going to call it Moneyball, and they're going to make them say Moneyball.
How do you know that happened? How do you not know the book that was written years later was called Moneyball based on somebody saying that, like, oh, they weren't playing baseball, they were playing Moneyball? That sounds like a thing someone would have said at the time.
Maybe one person said
Yeah,
but
maybe,
not on the
yes.
radio.
You think the people who wrote the book didn't do research? No, so where do you rank Moneyball on a scale from 0, John Wick, to 10, Face Off?
It's like a.
If it's higher than 4, I swear. Oh, 5? What are you talking about?
It's not egregious.
I
but
guarantee. Here's the thing. Have you read the book Moneyball?
I haven't.
I guarantee. Well, maybe I don't get. No, I guarantee they quote somebody saying Moneyball earlier than when the book is written. I guarantee.
By 2001. In 2001.
Before the book was written. The book wasn't written before the fucking season was played. You asshole.
No, I'm saying like if they quote someone before. During the season it happens.
No,
That's
no,
when
I'm saying if they quote somebody...
No. That's when this guy was on the radio when the season was happening.
Who gives a shit when the season was happening? The movie happened in 2011.
I'm gonna read this book.
You better. I wanted you to read the book, and I want a fucking report from it. All right, everybody, check their notes. What are we missing?
I only have one thing, and that was there was a surprise iced tea out of nowhere. That was cool.
Oh well, I mean Oakland, right?
Yeah, exactly. He did the narration after they won the 20th game.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure.
I
it was
do
iced
like a thing that reminds me of another thing I like is the sort of Greek chorus of the like sports radio. Reminded me a lot of Friday Night Lights, the movie and the TV show, which are also great, both of them. But it's the same thing where it's like they use that to juxtapose against like the coach or the players struggling with shit, and they
Right.
have just randos on the radio basically talking out their inner turmoil in front of it, which is cool. I like that.
Yeah.
It works really well for sports.
Yeah, it kind of gives more backstory or more, context into what's going on without just spilling it out for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's just a little more subtle than like just,
Yeah.
flat out stating it. I also have. Oh yeah, I wanted to compare this. Have you guys seen Trouble with the Curve?
Mm-mm.
I don't think so.
It's almost like the opposite movie to this, in that it's about like a baseball scout who it's all about like feeling and intuition and shit like that, and it's Clint Eastwood and I think Justin Timberlake and Amy Adams.
Okay.
And Clint Eastwood is like this old-timey baseball scout, and they want him to use like specific methods to like recruit a guy, and he's like, no, this guy's got the goods. And it's bad. It's really bad. It's like as bad as this is good.
So it is the opposite of that movie.
It's like almost the exact opposite, and it came out roughly around the same time. I can't remember when it came out, but roughly the same time.
2012.
There you go.
Like, I think that makes a good point, though. I mean, there is, I think Billy Bean says it. Well, Brad Pitt, not Billy Bean, says it at when he's having the fight with the coach, where either you have it or you don't, and you go into those kitchens and you tell them that you have it. And when I know, but you don't.
Mm-hmm.
When he has that entire line, like that kind of goes with the stats too. Like you can, even on paper, you can be
Yeah.
a great person, but when you get up to the big leagues, you don't know how their emotions are gonna handle it. Right?
Yeah. I do think the movie does a good job of both him being right in the moment. It's very complicated. Like even it's legitimately maybe one of Brad Pitt's most like complicated roles, in the sense that he's playing a totally normal guy with totally like real emotions and like real different things, because like part of it absolutely is the fact that like he got lied to, or not even lied to, but he got like gamed into the system as it was. So part of it, him does kind of want to change that system because of that. But also he's totally right that the poor teams have to play a different game than the rich teams. And I think the movie does a good job of showing those two sides, in that like they're right. If they play the game like that, I mean, as they show with their winning streak and with the Red Sox a couple years later, you can win like that. But also it doesn't discount the fact that there's like some not magic involved, but some like luck and heart and like drama to the game, because that's why people watch it. Like when you see Hatterberg's home run, or when Jonah Hill shows them the tape of that guy who always goes to first and never takes second, and then he falls on his ass and people are laughing, and then it turns out he didn't notice he did a home run. Like that part's beautiful, and like Brad Pitt says, he's like, how could you not love baseball? And I don't, but it shows a good it like does a good job of showing like both sides, kind of like it's both like
Yeah.
The poor teams have to play it a certain way, and the rich people play it any way they want, but like there's also some amount of like actual gameplay in there. So
Yeah, I think it does a very good job of showing that.
I also think it does a good job of showing it.
The answer is yes.
That's all I had in my notes. Insha, anything else you had in yours that, cause, as a first-time watcher and not a very sports fan, I think your opinion is interesting to me.
Not a very sports
No.
Yeah,
I
what did you
didn't.
think? I want to know your opinion comparing this to other like sports films you'd seen, specifically like baseball films.
It's nothing like The League of Their Own.
Well, no, it isn't.
It's the only baseball film I've ever watched.
Well, that's a good choice, because that's one of my recommendations. I love A League of Their Own.
And then the other ones that I've just watched are like really weird basketball movies, like Mike and He Got Game and Love and Basketball, and everybody's favorite Space Jam.
You've never watched The Sandlot? That's a great baseball movie.
I was never really interested in baseball.
Yeah, good call.
Like, I can do hockey, love wrestling, will bend for basketball, but other than that, no, thank you with baseball.
What about Bend It Like Beckham?
I will never ever watch a soccer movie, no.
Oh yeah, I've seen some good soccer movies, but soccer is one of the most boring things I've ever seen in my entire life as a sport. It's so bad, and I've seen baseball.
Like, even gymnast movies, I'm kind of just like, no, thank you. Unless they're about scandals, then I'm all
Really? Yeah, I like some gymnast movies. I do like. It's an underrated genre of athletic movies. Ballerinas.
Yo, Black Swan. Yeah.
Black Swan, Center Stage. Are you kidding me? Fuck yeah. John Wick 3 has ballerinas, doesn't it? Or is it John Wick 2? One of them has ballerinas.
Oh, Center Stage, Billy Elliot. That was a good
Center
one.
Stage. Billy Elliot. That's another good
one. Oh, there was like one, that's a dance movie. That's another great 90s genre of movies that was based off of Shakespeare plays. The one that was like about
Oh no, that's a basketball movie. Oh.
No. It wasn't O. Was it O? It had Julia Stiles in it, and it had
Save the Last Dance. That's a dance.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Love that movie. That movie was good.
Yeah. All right. So baseball movie. Bull Durham's a good one. I like Bull Durham.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what's another
Susan
great...
Sarandon's very cool. Oh, Major League. Major League's good. Yeah. Wesley Snipes.
What about Hardball with Keanu Reeves?
That is a good one.
I've actually seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty good. Although I only saw that as a kid. Maybe it doesn't hold up, but I like it. That's very he's not believable, but when Keanu Reeves plays like a hard ass who doesn't care, I don't buy it. Like him in Street Kings, another fan favorite. Street Kings, a movie I love, but he just can't pull off being like a guy who's like, whatever, I'm an alcoholic, I don't give a shit about anybody, but these baseball players are gonna change my mind. I just don't buy it. Like, I just think he loves everybody, so.
Tim, did you watch Street Kings after we recorded it?
I did not watch Street Kings.
Can we please just rewatch Street Kings with Tim on the show?
Yeah, we should do Street Kings again, because like Street Kings rules. We should do it again.
I'll just watch it on my own sometimes.
Yeah, just watch it. We don't have to record it.
And
Street Kings is great. It's a
Southern Tales.
Like an LA cop movie that's like, you know, LA Confidential, right?
I heard the episode that you guys did on it.
No, but you know LA Confidential?
I know LA Confidential.
Yeah, it's like that, but like worse, and with Keanu Reeves as the main character, so unbelievable. It's so good. I love it so much. All right, should we do? Anyone have any final thoughts, or should we do recommendations? Oh, do we recommend this movie?
Yeah, it's you know, I'm a fan of sports movies, and especially ones that are based off of real life. So,
what a ringing endorsement! This movie is both about sports and it's based on real life. So, thumbs up.
Yeah, I would.
Cool. Me too.
Insha, as a first-time watcher, what do you think?
If you have 2 hours to spare and you like Brad Pitt, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. I think because Jonah Hill got nominated for an Oscar for this, I think.
Did he really?
He did.
Yeah, supporting.
And I do think, especially when you contrast it with his nomination for Wolf of Wall Street, which he deserved and also should have won, he deserved this one too, because it's like they're night and day, and he's really good in this.
Yeah, he's like the heart of the movie.
Yeah, and I think Brad Pitt's actually like surprisingly good in it too. And I think I've seen this movie like 6 or 7 times, and he's like really watchable every time. Recommendation?
My recommendation is a 30 for 30 documentary called 4 Days in October. It's kind of the after of what happened here. It's about the Red Sox winning their first World Series in 92 years, and it's it kind of takes off of what Billy Beane did with the Oakland A's, and how the Red Sox, what we see at the end of this movie, built off of that and did it for themselves. And Johnny Damon's in it. So
Now, here's the thing, Tim. If you have any more recommendations, and one of them is Fever Pitch, I'm gonna be so mad. But continue.
no, that was it.
All right. Then I will go next, since you just had one.
Fucking Fever Pitch.
Because it was Aaron Sorkin who wrote it. Just watched the movies he wrote and didn't direct. Social Network and Steve Jobs. They're both good, script-wise. And they're directed by actually good directors, so that's good. And A League of Their Own as another great baseball movie. And that's it.
I have my favorite Brad Pitt movies. Killing Them Softly, Seven,
Hell yeah.
Inglourious Basterds, Fury,
Yeah.
The Assassination of Jesse James, Burn After Reading.
Just like
12
every Brad Pitt.
No. 12 Monkeys. 12 Monkeys, and my favorite of all time, Cool World.
No.
Cool World was a
that's not
good movie. And no one could
sucks.
tell me any differently.
Still, you listed a fucking shitload of fantastic all-timers. Yeah. Brad Pitt's, I mean, there's a reason he's a star.
Oh,
I've
and
never
Once Upon
seen
a
Cool
Time in
World,
Hollywood.
Insha. I've never seen that movie.
We're not...
Oh, you've never seen it?
I don't think so.
Yes.
So annoying.
Yes.
It's so bad.
Yes.
I wish. I mean,
I
if I'm
saw-
wishing for shit, I might as well wish for like $1 trillion. But if I can't wish for that, I'd wish for Tim to be dead, I guess.
I think I told you one time that like I saw Cool World before I saw Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Insane. Absolutely.
And it
Cool
didn't
World
make
is
any
like the
sense.
terrible version of Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
I assume it came after, right?
I think it came
Roughly the
before.
same time.
Yeah.
Like,
Really?
it's very close, yeah.
But
Who
it
Framed
has,
Roger
like-
Rabbit is so good, and Cool World is the exact opposite.
It
It's like a
has
classic Trouble with the Curve versus Moneyball situation.
Situation.
It has
Yeah.
Kim Basinger as the sexy lead, who's like a cartoon character. And she's
If
awesome.
you want to see Kim Basinger being sexy, just watch 9.5 Weeks.
Shut up! Cool World is awesome.
It's not good.
Cool World
And so
is
you've
the
seen-
best.
You seen Interview with a Vampire too? Where I didn't hear that on your list.
Oh yeah, and that, yes.
I didn't hear. Why just adding Brad Pitt? Did you see Meet Joe Black? Add that to the list.
Oh, also The Wolf of Wall Street, because that has
yeah.
Jonah Hill, and that's really good.
Yeah.
There we
And 21 and 22 Jump Street.
Stop. You just listing movies that everybody who's been in this.
Do you want
has
to
been in.
say any movies that Philip Seymour Hoffman has been in?
Oh,
No, but
well,
I
if we're
do
going
want to
that
say
way.
some movies that
No.
Chris Pratt has been in. Her, because Spike Jonze and Chris Pratt are in that.
Yes,
Parks and
Spike Jones
Recreation.
directed it.
Oh, and Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Jonah Hill is a receptionist in that.
Yeah, forgetting so much. I might cut all this out.
Did
think
I also
might
say
edit
Fury?
that earlier when we're yelling at you about Cool World.
Did I
Unless
also say
anyone
Fury?
else has anything else to say.
Did I say Fury? Because everybody should.
You
watch
said
it.
Yeah,
Fury.
you
I
said
love
Fury.
Fury. You've seen
Yeah.
Fury, right, Tim?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
Yeah, it
good.
rules, right?
Yeah, I like Fury.
Yeah, it's cool. All right, we can stop and save now, I think.
I love when
Right?
we don't say buys.
Well, we say byes after we stop. We're not going to say bye during the...
No, but like we don't say bye to like the 2 people that listen.
Who gives a shit? Stop.